praises. How are your sisters doing this Sabbath? Go praises. Brothers, how are y'all doing? All right. Brothers and sisters at the venue, we say shalom. I apologize for not being there, but Austin dropped the ball again, and they're not able to broadcast, so we had to broadcast from here. But we will be over there, God willing, right after class. We'll be over there immediately. Right? This guy. Lord's will, Lord's will. All right. Captains, how are y'all doing? Who's reading for me?
Captain Gedaliah, Bishop.
Okay, all praises. Today's lesson is going to go into a little bit of history, so I need y'all to pay close attention, especially Captain Enoch. We are going to discuss the atom bomb from Nazis to NASA. All right, the IT department, are they y'all up and running? Okay, Azariah. All right, all praises. Let's start off with a little bit of history. Give me the first critical review of Annals of Literature, please. All right, who read that, Captain Gedaliah?
Yes, sir. Critical Review or Annals of Literature by a Society of Gentlemen. Mm-hmm. What's that, 17? Is that 1700? At the bottom?
No, I don't remember. Give me the next page. Let's read the highlights.
Yes, sir. All right. The trade soon increased so that in 1455, no less than 700 or 800 Negro slaves were annually exported to Lisbon.
Exported,
to Lisbon. At length, the Portuguese in 1471 discovered the Gold Coast. And ever since, the intercourse between Portugal and Guinea was continued.
Next highlighted section.
The discovery of the Gold Coast served...
Now, y'all know the Gold Coast is Ghana. Go ahead.
Indeed, yet more to enlarge the sphere of the navigation of the Portuguese than their slave trade, but it forced them also to extend themselves on the coasts and to settle colonies in Congo, Angola, and other places, which they had till they neglected.
Read straight through.
Prince Henry's colonies were enlarged by the successors. King John II, in 1492, expelled all the Jews to the island of St. Thomas, which had been discovered in 1471, into other Portuguese settlements on the continent of Africa.
So St. Thomas is an island off the coast of Africa. Go ahead.
And from these banished Jews.
What I want y'all to see is that they're calling those Africans banished Jews. Read that part again.
And from these banished Jews, the black Portuguese, as they are called, and the Jews in Loango, and are despised. Who are despised even by the very Negroes are descended.
So those banished Jews are descended from Negroes, the Negroes that they found on the continent of Africa. Was there another highlighted section? Go ahead, read that bottom part.
Yes, sir. In the beginning of the 16th century, the Spaniards and the Portuguese began to transport Negroes for similar labors, and the West Indies
to the West Indies,
and it was that
Brazil's,
by which the Negroes' trade was rapidly increased.
So I started off with this bit of history because I want y'all to see and understand that all the old books declared and taught that the blacks in Spain and Portugal, taken to the continent of Africa, were Jews. They were Jews. Now, when we jump up, give me the next page. The church. Yep, right there. This is in Russia. Give me the next page. Now, I want y'all to see the black images. Now, I went over this many times before, but I know that there may be new people with us. We ruled Russia. We ruled all Europe for over 1,000 years. No, we weren't the most righteous people, but one thing we did know is that we have always known we were the Israelites, the Jews. Okay, as you can see the black images of the saints, the martyrs, the Israelites on the walls of this cathedral in Russia. Give me the next one. Okay, as you can see in these are many of the patriarchs. Raise it up. You can see some of the angels are black on the wall. There's one with Christ. Yeah, right there. Christ is in the center. Mary's on my left, you got John, you got the angels, Michael, and Uriel, and Gabriel on either side. Go back to the top again, raise it up. Yeah, you can see all the black images of the Israelites, the Jews, on the walls of this cathedral. All right, now let's go to the next page. This is from another book. Can you read that, Gedaliah?
Yes, sir. Negro Judaism. Above, Gold Coast chief. He came 100 miles to Accra on the coast to have his picture taken. His robe was Arabic and Hebrew charms.
Can we look at the brother from Accra, Ghana? Nope, up. All right, that's him. So his garment had Arabic and Hebrew charms and writings on it. Okay, why? Because these were the Jews. These were the Jews. Now you may ask yourself, what happened to a lot of that history of us knowing who we are? Well, we're going to touch on that today. Right, go back down. Read the lower one, left.
Left, a Jew, snapped in a street procession of Jews in New York.
So in New York, this brother right here knew he was a Jew. Okay? Give me the next page. Read that.
Yes, sir. Negro Judaism. Left, Rabbi Harling Hank Lent or Bishop A.W. Cook of Montclair, New Jersey. He announces that the Negroes are the only real Hebrews.
That's right. So he had that going for him. He knew that. Go ahead.
Right. Bata Kendai Mgoza, Ibn Lo Bagalo, a Yoruba Negro Jew of the Imo Yo Kwam of Benai Ephraim of southern Nigeria.
Right. So the Yoruba Jews. Right, low, yeah, that's him on the left. And the first one you read about is him on the right. Notice they are black men. So now, let's go into the next book. Read that.
The Jews, a study of race and environment by Maurice Fishberg.
Raise it up.
The Walter Scott Publishing Company, LTD.
Right. Look at the year, 1911.
1911, yes, sir.
Now let's see what he wrote on page 64. Next page. Zoom in. Read that highlighted area.
These fair-haired Jews created a problem.
Talk about white folks.
For anthropologists. It is a question whence these Indo-Germanic Jews, as Virchow called them, have found their way into the midst of a dark complexioned race like the Jews.
So he's bringing out the controversy. White folks saying they're Jews, but the Jews have always been known as being black. So now it caused a controversy, a problem for anthropologists. So now, let's go to Genesis. Thank you. So that was a little bit of opening with history. Let's go to Genesis 25 and let's start at verse 21.
Yes, sir. The book of Genesis, chapter 25 and verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren.
NIT, if y'all got some more images for me, because I don't have all the images, I'm trusting y'all be able to just find some on your own. Read that, I'm sorry.
And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. The Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived.
So now his wife initially could not get pregnant, but then the Lord allowed them to be blessed, and she conceived. Go ahead.
And the children struggled together within her.
Children, notice, children, more than one. Go ahead.
And she said, if it be so, why am I thus?
Meaning, if the Lord has blessed me, why am I having trouble in this childbirth? Go ahead.
And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
Meaning those children are the origin or the beginnings or the genesis of 2 nations. Go ahead.
And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
2 manner of people, meaning 2 different types of people, shall be separated. Meaning what? What kind of twins were they? They were fraternal, not identical. Go ahead.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people.
Stronger mentally and physically. That's us, able to endure great hardships. Go ahead.
And the elder shall serve the younger.
And the elder child shall serve the younger. Talking about in the kingdom. It's prophetic. Go ahead.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment. And they called his name Esau.
So his name was called Esau. Write this down. Esau means wasted away is he. Wasted away is he. That's what it means. Red, Esau does not mean red. Esau does not mean hairy. We'll get to that a little later on. Go ahead.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them.
So what I want you all to notice, you new brothers and sisters at home, they never give the color of Jacob. They gave the color of Esau being red. Why didn't they give the color of Jacob? Because he was the same complexion as his mother and father and everybody else from Genesis 2, verse 7. Get that for me? Genesis 2, verse 7.
Genesis chapter 2 and verse 7. The Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground.
And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground. I want us to take a look at some dust of the ground. Do we have any? IT, do we have any? I know I'm asking a lot. I know if I'm going too quick, y'all let me know. Dust of the ground. You could Google it if y'all ain't got it in the folders. Holding soil in hand. I guess you could just type that in. I just want the men and women at home to see it. Holding soil in hand. Right there. Notice the soil. That's the color Adam was. Now look at the hand of the white folks. Hey, find me one with a black man holding the soil. They got some. You got me, IT? Come on. I want a black man holding the soil. Black hands holding soil. It should be right there on the same Google page. All right, let me know when y'all get it. Let's go back to Genesis 25. What verse did you leave off at?
We left off at verse, we was about to read verse 26.
Oh, you got me? Go ahead, put it on the screen. I want y'all to see the comparison now. Look at the black man holding the earth. So read Genesis 2:7 one more again.
Yes, sir. Genesis chapter 2 and verse 7. The Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground.
So the dust of the ground is the same color as the man. Now watch this. Give me Genesis 1. Is it 26?
Yes, sir.
Give me that.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air.
So Adam looked just like God. Same complexion. Y'all, you ain't got to be ashamed to say it. You ain't got to be ashamed. You got to whisper it. You ain't got to whisper it. Adam looked just like God. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. That's what you're seeing right there. That's what you're seeing right there. Go on back, Captain Get Alive.
Yes, sir. Genesis chapter 25, verse 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter and a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison. But Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob sought pottage. And Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom.
Write this down. Edom means red. Do you have the Bible dictionary with Edom? What it means? The definition of the word? You got that? If you ain't got it, it's all right. Just let me know. Do y'all have it? Azariah? No. Okay. Edom means red. Write that down. Edom means red. I want all the schools, y'all should have folders with this stuff. From there, let's go to Genesis 36. Do I want Genesis 36? Yeah. Genesis 36, and I want to start at verse 8.
The book of Genesis, chapter 36, verse 8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir.
Write this down. Seir, S-E-I-R, means hairy. Seir, S-E-I-R, means hairy. It was a range of mountains that was sharp, and it looked like hair. Read it again.
Yes, sir. Genesis 36, verse 8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom.
Esau is Edom. Read.
And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites
The father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. Now jump down for me. Jump down to verse. Let me look. I want verse 15.
Yes, sir. Genesis 36 and 15. These were dukes of the sons of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn, son of Esau, Duke Teman.
Highlight that one right, or write in your notes. Duke Teman. We're going to talk about Teman in a moment. Go ahead.
Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, Duke Kenaz, Duke Korah, Duke Gotham, Duke Amalek.
We're going to write down Duke Amalek. We're going to talk about them too. Go ahead.
These are the dukes that came of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These were the sons of Adah.
Right. So now, watch this. What happened during the Babylonian captivity? What happened? Give me 1 Ezra chapter 4. I want y'all to pay very close attention. I'm going to take y'all on a history route. 1 Ezra chapter 4, Cap, and let's start at verse 42.
Yes, sir. 1 Ezra chapter 4 and verse 42. Then said the king unto him, ask what thou wilt more.
Now let me fill in the gap for you. This is during the actually this is Persia. I'm sorry, I apologize. This is just after the conquest of Babylon. Okay, Zerubbabel is given a task, him and two others. Who has the wisest answer? Okay, and Zerubbabel says what is the strongest thing on earth? And Zerubbabel had the best answer. He said women and the truth. So Zerubbabel, which was the king's bodyguard, won. Now listen good to what he says to the king in 1 Ezra 4:42.
1 Ezra chapter 4 verse 42.
This might be the king's response. I'm trying to remember. But
Yes,
go ahead,
sir.
read on.
Then said the king unto him, ask what thou wilt more than is appointed in the writing, and we will give it thee, because thou art found wisest, and thou shalt sit next me, and shalt be called my cousin. Then said he unto the king, remember thy vow, which thou hast vowed to build Jerusalem in the day when thou camest to thy kingdom.
So this is what Zerubbabel, the Israelite, is saying to the king of Persia. Go ahead.
And to send away all the vessels that were taken away out of Jerusalem, which Cyrus set apart, when he vowed to destroy Babylon, and to send them again thither.
Because Cyrus had made a vow to destroy Babylon and to send Israel back to the homeland. Watch this.
Thou also hast vowed to build up the temple, which the Edomites burned when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldees.
Notice who burned down the temple. It was the Edomites. Go ahead.
And now, O Lord the King, this is that
Hey,
which
can y'all put some pictures of the Edomites on the screen for me while we're talking? Read that part again.
Yes,
for
sir.
IT, because they ain't paying attention.
Yes, sir, verse 45. Thou also hast vowed to build up the temple, which the Edomites burned when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldees.
I ain't see one Edomite on the screen yet. Can y'all put Esau, the red guy, back on the screen? Now, I want the ancient pictures. I don't want these modern ones. Give me the ancient ones. Yep, right there. Read it again, Cap. Now we in sync. I think we in tune with IT now. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Verse 45. Thou also hast vowed to build up the temple which the Edomites burned when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldees.
Because the Edomites worked with the Chaldeans, which were the Babylonians. The Edomites worked with them. Now watch this.
And now, O Lord the King, this is that which I require, and which I desire of thee. And this is the princely liberality proceeding from thyself. I desire, therefore, that thou make good the vow, the performance whereof with thine own mouth thou hast vowed to the King of heaven. Then Darius the king stood up and kissed him, and wrote letters for him unto all the treasurers and lieutenants and captains and governors, that they should safely convey on their way both him and all those that go up with him to build Jerusalem. He wrote letters also to the lieutenants that were in Syria and Phineas, and unto them of Libanus.
Okay, hold on. Y'all could take Esau off the screen now. Thank you. Go ahead.
That they should bring cedar wood from Libanus, unto Jerusalem, and that they should build the city with him. Moreover, he wrote for all the Jews that went out of his realm.
Pay close attention to this. Read that again.
Moreover, he wrote for all the Jews that went out of his realm up into Jewry concerning their freedom, that no officer, no ruler, no lieutenant, nor treasurer should forcibly enter into their doors.
Here it comes.
And that all the country which they hold should be free without tribute, and that the Edomites should give over the villages of the Jews which then they held.
So when Babylon destroyed Israel, the Edomites took over the land. That's what I want y'all to see. The Edomites took over the land during the time of Babylon. So now it's way past 70 years later. Okay, Persia's in power. We still haven't been released yet. So now we're coming back to the land. But in order to get back, it's, hey, those Edomites took our land. Okay, we need them to get out of our land. So the king made a decree to get rid of those Edomites out of the land. So now watch this. Something else happened during the time of Persia. Give me Esther chapter 8, verse 17.
The book of Esther, chapter 8 and verse 17.
Pay close attention.
And in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness.
Now this is the feast of Purim. Haman had set up a plot to kill us, kill all the Jews that was in Persia. So Queen Esther used her authority, with her uncle Mordecai, to overthrow Haman's judgment. And she revealed that she was a Jew that Haman wanted to kill. The king was wroth, and he allowed the Israelites to fight back and to save themselves. Read that again, verse 17.
Yes, sir. And in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them.
So I want y'all to notice this was a time of conversion. Meaning what? Many of the people followed our customs, our traditions. They were not Jews, but it said, and many of the people of the land became Jews. Many, they followed our customs, our laws, our traditions. Highlight that verse. From there, that was during Persia. So remember, during the Babylonian captivity, Esau took the land. During Persian captivity, many people became Jews. Now we go into the next captivity, was the Greek captivity. Okay, you had a young man named John Hyrcanus, who was the son of Simon Maccabee. Give me that in 1 Maccabee 13:53.
Yes,
pay
sir.
attention, pay attention.
The book of 1 Maccabee, chapter 13, verse 53. And when Simon saw that John, his son, was a valiant man, he made him captain of all the host, and he dwelt in Gazara.
So what did John Hyrcanus do? What did he become famous for? IT, you should have a link that says John Hyrcanus from the book, from the Britannica library. Should be a link there saying John Hyrcanus, King of Judea, Britannica. Yep. You see that, Cap? Can you read that for us?
Yes, sir. I can't see it on my screen yet.
All right, can you get it all? Yeah, thank you.
John Hyrcanus, the first, king of Judea.
Go all the way down. Let's get to the main point right here.
John Hyrcanus the first, born c. 175 BC, died 104 BC. High priest and ruler of the Jewish nation from 134 to 104 BC.
Now, they always throw that word ish in there, but he was not Jewish. He was Judean. Okay, he was a real Israelite, son of Simon. Good.
Under his reign, the Hasmonean kingdom of Judea in ancient Palestine attained power and great prosperity. And the Pharisees, a scholarly sect with popular backing, and the Sadducees, an aristocratic sect that comprised the priesthood, became well-defined religious parties.
So these two groups, the Pharisees and Sadducees, you read about them in the book of Maccabees called the Assyrians, okay? And the Sadducees descend from the sons of Zadok. Read.
Hyrcanus was the youngest son of Simon Maccabeus, and thus a member of the Hasmonean dynasty, so called after an ancestor named Hasmoneus. In 137 BC, he and his brother Judas commanded the force that heroically repelled the invasion of Judea led by Sendabeus, the general of the Syrian king Antiochus VII, Sidits. In 135, Hyrcanus' brother-in-law, Ptolemy, the governor of Jericho, assassinated Hyrcanus' father and two elder brothers. Hyrcanus then succeeded to the high priesthood and the supreme authority in Judea. The remainder of Hyrcanus' reign was marked by his efforts to punish his enemies, ward off the Syrians, and enlarge Judea's boundary. Although he struggled in vain to destroy Ptolemy, he successfully thwarted Syrian incursions by alliance with Rome and conquered the unfriendly neighboring territories of Samaria and Idumea.
So now I want to pause right there. Remember, Rome were Edomites already, but they went under the name Rome. You had another group of Edomites that went by the name Edom or Idumea. But Rome and them were the same race, the same people. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. He forced Idumea to convert to Judaism.
Read it again.
He forced Idumea to convert to Judaism.
John Hyrcanus forced Idumea to convert to Judaism. So that group of Edomites that was in Idumea, he forced them to get circumcised and to follow the laws of God. Read.
The first example of conversion imposed by the Jews in their history.
He's the first example of conversion imposed by the Jews in their history. Go ahead.
Upon his death, Hyrcanus was succeeded by his eldest son, Aristobulus the first. Hyrcanus' reign was the last under which Judea was a powerful, united state.
Now, IT, give me the next book I sent you. It says Converts Among Semitic Tribes. Converts among Semitic tribes. Yep. Read the highlighted section.
Yes, sir. Josephus recorded that the army of John Hyrcanus, the high priest of Judea, reigned 134 to 104 BCE, took possession of Dora and Marissa.
Remember, BC is before Christ existed. Go ahead.
Which were cities of Idumea. After conquering the Idumeans, Hyrcanus let the Idumeans stay in their land on the condition that they would be circumcised and observe the Jewish laws.
See what John Hyrcanus did? He let them stay in the land on the condition that they would be circumcised and observe Jewish laws, Judean laws. Go ahead.
In this way, the Idumeans, descendants of Esau, became Jews by force rather than by choice.
So I want you to notice that. In this way, the Idumeans, descendants of Esau, became Jews by force rather than by choice. Pay close attention there. Now, give me the next. It's a Wikipedia I sent you. So during the Roman Empire, there was a man named Antipater. And let's go down to, now Antipater, go back. Antipater was an Idumean. Idumean is another word for Edom. Go down to the section that says background. His background, right there. Click that. Let's read that.
Though historians understand that Antipater's family converted to Judaism in the 2nd century BCE, different stories had circulated in the wake of his sons coming to power. They demonstrate the tensions that existed between the Jewish people and the powerful Edomites who appear at this time.
So why were they powerful at this time? Because Rome, their brothers Rome, was in power. Go ahead.
Nicholas of Damascus.
Now pay attention what Nicholas of Damascus does.
The court historian for Herod.
He was the court historian for Herod. We're going to read about Herod in a minute. Go ahead.
Wrote that Herod's ancestors were among the historical elite in Jerusalem who had been taken by King Nebuchadnezzar into Babylonian captivity in the 6th century BCE.
Now that's a lie right there, because these Edomites were not taken into Babylonian captivity. What they're trying to do is blur the lines between the real Jews and these converts. Read on.
This account serves two purposes. When the Persian king Cyrus sent the captives in Babylon back to Judea, it is likely that some chose to settle elsewhere. A legitimate, scroll down.
Raise it up.
A legitimate dispersion such as this would shroud.
Wait. A legitimate dispersion such as this would shroud
the fact that Herod's ancestry is undocumented in the meticulous records of returned Jewish families.
Meaning what? His history, Herod's history, was not found in the returning Israelites that came from Persia back to Israel. Go ahead.
Claiming a heritage among the Jews from as early as the Babylonian captivity provides credibility for a pro-Roman and Hellenized Herod as a king over the Jews, for they were highly contemptuous of him.
So they said, let's blur the lines. Let's create lies so that maybe the Israelites will accept him. If we can convince them that that Herod was a real Israelite through his ancestry, he'll be accepted. But Israel already knew this dude was Edomite. Go ahead.
Josephus explains this rendering by critiquing its author. Nicholas wrote to please Herod and would do so at the cost of truthfulness.
See that? Nicholas wrote to please Herod and would do so at the cost of truthfulness. So this guy would lie for Herod. Read on.
Instead, Josephus explains that Antipater's family converted to Judaism during the forced conversions by the Sadducee-influenced Hasmonean leader John Hyrcanus.
So Josephus had to come with the truth now. He said, this guy for Herod is lying. The real issue on Herod is that he's a convert. John Hyrcanus forced these Idumeans to be converted to Judaism. Go ahead.
Hyrcanus threatened that any Idumean who wished to maintain their land would need to be circumcised and enter into the traditions of the Jews. Josephus acknowledges Herod as being by birth a Jew and Antipater as being of the same people with the Jews. Nevertheless, this influential family came to be resented by many Jews
which were the real Jews. Why?
For their Edomite ancestry.
For their Edomite ancestry. Go ahead.
A fact used by the Hasmoneans and their supporters against them.
So what I want y'all to see is how Esau always tried to blur the line. Remember at the beginning of the lesson, the author said, how is these group of Indo-Germanics found their ways into a black race like the Jews? This is how they did it, by lying, by lies. Go ahead.
Pull it back up, please.
Where are you at?
I'm going to go back to nevertheless. Nevertheless, this influential family came to be resented by many Jews for their Edomite ancestry, a fact used by the Hasmoneans as their supporters against them. As such, in a polemic against Herod to discredit him in the eyes of the Romans as unfit to become king of the Jews.
Why? Because Rome was setting Herod up as king of the Jews. We're going to read that in a minute. Go ahead.
Antigonus the Hasmonean is quoted by Josephus as referring to Herod as no more than a private man and an Idumean, i.e. a half-Jew.
Meaning a convert. Now, let's go to Luke chapter 1 and verse 5. Luke chapter 1 and verse 5 about Herod.
Yes, sir. The book of Luke, chapter 1 and verse 5. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias of the course of Abiah, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth.
So what I want y'all to see is that very first sentence. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea. Herod, the Idumean, was set up as king over our people. Now, give me the next. Yes, this genealogy, put it on the screen. Gedaliah, can you see it?
Yes, sir, I can see it now. Yes, sir.
Now, when you read the names, I want you to read the scriptures for our people at home. Read that.
Yes, sir. Antipater the second, and Cyprus, his wife. Phaziel, Herod the Great, Matthew chapter 2, verse 1 through 22, and Luke chapter 1, verse 5.
So what we just read in Luke 1 and 5 is Herod the Great, the descendant of Antipater. Antipater was one of those that was forcibly converted to being a Jew during the time of John Hyrcanus. Now we're going to read his descendants. Just read the key ones where you see the scriptures at.
Yes, sir. So, descendants of Herod the Great by Miriam, Herod Philip, first husband of Herodias, Matthew chapter 14, verse 3.
So Herod Philip, Matthew 14, verse 3. Go ahead.
Of his wife Cleopatra of Jerusalem, Philip, the tetrarch of Iturea, Trachonitis, and nearby districts, Luke chapter 3, verse 1. His descendants from Malthus, Archelaus, excuse me, king of Judea, later an ethnarch. Matthew chapter 2, verse 22.
So Matthew chapter 2, verse 22. Go ahead.
Antipas.
Go ahead.
Tetrarch of Galilee and Perea, popularly referred to as king, second husband of Herodias. Matthew chapter 14, verse 1 through 12. Mark chapter 6, verse 14 through 29. Luke 3 and 1. 19, 20, 13 and 31, 32, 23, verse 6 through 15, and Acts chapter 4, verse 27 and 13 and 1.
Now Agrippa the first.
Agrippa the first, king of Palestine. Acts chapter 12, verse 1 through 6.
So that's the one that killed James. Go ahead.
18 through 23. Herodias, mother of Salome. Matthew chapter 14, verse 3, 4, 6 through 8.
That's the one that wanted John the Baptist's head on a platter. These are all Herod's descendants. These are all Edomite converts. Go ahead.
Agrippa II, king of Chalcis, later given territory formerly of Philip the Tetrarch in other areas. Acts chapter 25, verse 13, 22 through 27, 26, verse 1. 2, 19 through 32. Drusilla, wife of Felix, Acts 24, 24. Bernice, Acts 25, 13, 23, 26, and 30.
Read the next line.
Herod the Great had 5 other wives.
He had 5 other wives.
And 15 children in all.
15. So when you're reading in the New Testament about these kings and all of that, these leaders, these are all Edomites, converts. That's why, hey, where's the one about Agrippa? Go back. Let me look. Where's Agrippa at? Okay. Y'all see, because they didn't got it. No, Agrippa II. You see it says Acts 26. Read that, Goliath. Acts 20. Acts 26, 1 and 2.
Yes, sir. Acts chapter 26 and verse 1. Acts 26, verse 1. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, Thou art permitted to speak for thyself. Then Paul stretched forth the hand and answered for himself. I think myself happy, King Agrippa, because I shall answer for myself this day before the touching of all the things whereof I am accused of the Jews.
Go ahead.
Especially because I know thee to be expert in all customs and questions which are among the Jews.
How was he expert? Why was he expert? Because he was raised learning Judean laws and customs. That's why he was expert. Now watch this. Jump to chapter 25 and verse 22 and 23. Watch this. These are 2 more Herod's kids. These are Edomites, converts. Go ahead.
Acts chapter 25, you said verse 22, right, Bishop?
Yes.
Then Agrippa said unto Festus, I would also hear the man myself. Tomorrow, said he, thou shalt hear him. And on the morrow, when Agrippa was come, and Bernice, with great pomp, and was entered into the place of the hearing.
Notice Bernice right there. It says, put it on the screen. We don't need me on the screen. Acts 25, 13. That's Bernice. This is one of the daughter's descendants. Read that again.
Yes, sir. And on the morrow, when Agrippa was come, and Bernice, with great pomp.
You know what great pomp means? When she came in, a big orchestra played when she came in. Go ahead.
And was entered into the place of hearing with the chief captains and principal men of the city. As Festus commandment, Paul was brought forth. And Festus said, King Agrippa, and all men which are here present with us, ye see this man, about whom all the multitude of the Jews have dealt with me, both at Jerusalem and also here, crying that he ought not to live any longer.
So these are all Edomites. These are all converts. They are all Jewish. All of them. Jewish. Oh, I got a bomb, finally. So now, I'm showing you various conversions. Now we're going to jump up to the Dark Ages. Write this down. Dark Ages, we're going to examine the 7th to the 10th century. 7th to the 10th century. Put that on the screen. Cap, read that.
Yes, sir. What period were the Khazars? The Khazar Empire, CA 650 to CA 965/68. One of the largest states of medieval Eurasia, dominated a region from the Ukrainian steppes to lands approaching the Ural River, and from the Middle Volga region to the North Caucasus and Crimea.
I know y'all missed that, right? I know y'all missed that. It said the Khazar Empire dominated a region from the Ukraine. We're going to talk about them in a little bit. We're going to talk about them. Give me the next page. Introduction. Yep, zoom in. Read that.
Yes, sir. Perhaps the most interesting aspect of the Khazars' history was their adoption of the Jewish religion.
More conversion of these white folks. Go ahead.
For centuries, the Khazar territory was a major region of settlement for Jewish refugees escaping persecution. And their refugees soon introduced Judaism to the Khazars. The king of Khazaria, Bulin, became convinced.
So write his name down, Bulin. His first name was Cajun. Cajun Bulin. Go ahead. He was the king.
Became convinced that Judaism was the true religion. And under his leadership and that of his successors, some of the Khazar people also adopted Judaism.
Some of the Khazar people also adopted Judaism. Go ahead.
Synagogues and yeshivas were established in Khazaria.
Pay attention. Synagogues and yeshivas were established in Khazaria. This is in the Caucasus Mountains of Georgia, Russia. Go ahead.
And the study of the Torah and Talmud became commonplace.
You see what they study, the Torah and Talmud. Mm-hmm. The Talmud, that's a book of like oral traditions where they hate any mention of Christ. Go ahead.
The Khazars underscored their allegiance to the Jewish faith by adopting the Hebrew script and Hebrew personal names, even to the extent of naming some of their children after Jewish holidays, such as Pesach or Hanukkah. Jews lived in many of the major Khazar towns. Khazaria exerted a tremendous impact on world history. The Khazars persisted.
You know what's odd about that? It says that Khazaria exerted a tremendous impact on world history. But in school, they don't teach us about Khazaria. You would learn about Khazaria in school? I ain't learned about no Khazaria in school. But it exerted a tremendous impact on world history. Go ahead.
Khazaria exerted a tremendous impact on world history. The Khazars, persistent against Arab invaders, eventually halted their conquest north of the Caucasus.
Now, let's get the next page. Page 8 of chapter 1. Zoom in. Pay attention.
The medieval German legend of the Red Jews.
Of the what?
Red
So
Jews.
these people were called the Red Jews. Remember what it said about Esau? The first came out what? Red. Go ahead.
Derived from a combination of three of these stories. One, about Alexander the Great's enclosure of monstrous nation behind a large mountain northeast of the Mediterranean. Two, about Gog and Magog, said to be
because Gog and Magog is up there in Khazaria. Go ahead.
Said to be the destroyers of the world at the end of time.
That's them right there. Go ahead.
And three, about the 10 lost tribes.
That's what
of
they
Israel.
try to say they are. They're trying to say they're the lost tribes of Israel, but they not. Go ahead.
German writers used the Red Jews legend to express anti-Jewish sentiments and fears about the anticipated apocalypse. The term Red Jews was chosen because medieval Germans saw red hair and red beards as signs of dishonest, deceitful individuals.
Y'all see that? Y'all see that?
Right.
Now, hey, give me the pictures of these people. Give me the pictures. Give me the pictures of these Red Jews. Yep, this is them. This is them. And notice, the way they dress with that hat, with the Bolshevik hat. Bolshevik, that's one of their words. with the curly locks, none of that is biblical. None of that is God's law. That's all Khazar. The way they dress comes from Khazaria. People be like, ask these people, where's that that dress code in the Bible? It's not in there. But the world believes it. The world believes it. Wow. From there, give me the Jewish encyclopedia, please. That's right. Now, I wanted to get this because their scholars wrote about themselves. Now, their Jewish encyclopedia was only meant for their people. Little did they know that Negroes would start to expand their horizon from the African-American lousy book section and go to their book section and start to, inquire. Inquiring minds want to know. So this is from the Jewish Encyclopedia,
Yes,
the
sir.
history, religion, literature, and customs of the Jewish people from the earliest times to the present day. Read that next section right there, Goliath.
Yes, sir. Prepared by more than 400 scholars and specialists.
So this ain't prepared by Negroes. This is prepared by white folks whom they deemed, 400 white folks they deemed scholars, so-called Jewish scholars. Let's go inside the book. Now, what I want y'all to see the highlighted, it says Khazars.
Yes, sir.
But notice the difference in the spelling. They got a C rather than a K, but it's the same word. Don't be deceived, brothers and sisters. That's what they do. Now, give me the next page. Read that.
As the headwaters of the Donets in the province of Lebadia. Skip down to highlight. It was probably about the time that the Shagan of the Khazars and his grandees, together with a large number of his heathen people, embraced the Jewish religion.
This is what their scholars put together. This isn't us being, as they call us, racist or hateful. Their people put this together. Give me the next page. Now watch this.
In this letter, Hasdai speaks of the tradition according to which the Khazars once dwelt near the Sierra Mountains.
Wait a minute. Go back to Genesis 36. And what was that, verse 8?
Yes, sir. Genesis chapter 36 and verse 8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir.
So they know that these people are Edomites.
That's right.
They know that they're Edomites. Now watch this. So what happened? How did they become the Jews and we became niggas and spicks? How in the hell did this happen? Get Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12.
Yes, sir.
And let's start at verse 10. We read this all the time. Watch this.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy,
Uh-oh.
for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
So never trust your enemy. This is God speaking here through Sirach. Never trust your enemies. For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Just like you get a piece of iron, it might look good today, but in a couple of weeks or month, the rust will start to form. God says your enemies like that. Their wickedness will start to reveal itself. Watch this. Read on.
Though he humble himself
Don't be deceived, brothers and sisters. Though he humble himself
and go crouching,
saying, I'm sorry, I love you. Go ahead.
yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass. And thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away.
No matter how much he humbles himself, how much he says, sorry, and I love you, I want to work with you. God says, take good heed of him, because he'll be to you like a looking glass. When you wipe a mirror, when you get out the shower and you can see clear now, this Bible is that looking glass. You can see him clear now. It's, no, that wickedness is still there. Watch the next verse. This is the part we wanted to get to, verse 12.
Verse 12. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place.
Wait. He'll do what? Read that again.
Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place.
Now, watch. When they converted during the time of the 7th to the 10th century, we set them by us in Spain and Portugal. We set them by us. If y'all look at the movie, ever see this movie called Othello starring Lawrence Fishburne? He was the last Moor in Spain. And all his Edomite friends were plotting against him to overthrow him. The word Moor means blacks, by the way. So read verse 12 again.
Yes, sir. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat.
Lest he seek to take thy seat. Go ahead.
And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith.
Y'all see that? He said, God says your enemy will take your place. We didn't believe that. No, Lord. These are some nice people. In fact, Lord, we converted them to being Jewish. They're nice to us. Well, what happened? Give me Psalms 83. Let's read 3 to 5.
Yes, sir. The book of Psalms chapter 83 and verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
God's enemies took crafty counsel against us. We're the people of God. It says they have taken crafty counsel against thy people. Go ahead.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
We're the hidden ones now. Why? Because the truth of who we are has been hidden in the earth. Come on.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
They have said, our enemies have said, let's cut them off from being a nation.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Go ahead.
For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
Who, Lord? Who? Read.
The tabernacles of Edom.
Enemy number one, Edom. Enemy number one, Edom. God warned us from way back when. Don't set them by you. They'll seek to take your place. We said, we know more than you, Lord. We are smarter than you, God. And look what happened. Look what happened. Now watch this. Give me Micah 2 and 1. Micah chapter 2, verse 1.
Yes, sir. The book of Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds.
Work evil upon their beds. Go ahead.
When the morning is light,
When the morning is light,
they practice it.
they practice the evil they dreamed and thought about the night before. Go ahead.
Because it is in the power of their hand.
Because they had military power. Go ahead.
And they covered fields.
They covered fields, meaning lands.
And take them by violence.
And take them by violence. Go ahead.
And how?
Wait. How did they take the land of Israel during the time of Babylon? By violence.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. And they covered fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage.
You see that? They oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. What does that mean? They became the Jews. They became the Jews. Give me the picture. Give me the picture in Spain. What happened in Spain from the 7th to the 10th century? Oh, look what they did to us. They enslaved us. They enslaved us. We became the niggers and the spics and the Africans. They became the Jews. The Lord warned us about this. He warned us about this. Give me the next page in the next book. Let's read this. This is J.A. Rogers. Highlighted areas, please.
Yes, sir. Waite says, as interesting gradation of all shades down to the black is exhibited by the Jews.
Oh, all shades down to the black is exhibited by the Jews. Go ahead.
Especially dark were the Jews of Spain and Portugal.
Wait. Especially dark were the Jews of Spain and Portugal. Go back to the picture. Go back to the picture, please. So black were the Jews, so dark were the Jews of Spain and Portugal. And look what they did to us. They enslaved us. Now go back. Go on back. Read it again.
Waite says, as an interesting gradation of all shades down to the black is exhibited by the Jews, especially dark were the Jews of Spain and Portugal. The Portuguese Jews were very dark, says Pritchard.
These are scholars he's quoting. Go ahead.
The Duchess de Abrantes, wife of Napoleon's ambassador to Portugal, said that the Jew, The Negro and the Portuguese could be seen in a single person.
You see that? The Jew and Negro, the word Negro came from Spain. It's Spanish. It simply means black. It referred to the Jews. That's how they called us. Negro. The Jew, the Negro, and the Portuguese could be seen in a single person. Go ahead.
So dark were the Jews, especially of Portugal and southern Spain, that many whites thought all Jews were black or dark.
That's right, and they were. Remember, at this time, they were converts. Okay? Give me the next page in the next book, please. Page 212. Read that.
Negroes' claim to be Jewish is legitimate.
The Negroes' claim to be Jewish is legitimate. Go ahead.
The land of Israel is located in Western Asia and borders on North Africa. All of the native inhabitants of that region were non-white. When Spain expelled its Jews.
When Spain expelled its Jews through slavery and expulsion.
In 1492, many of them went to Africa.
Many of those Jews went to Africa. Go ahead.
It seems probable that some of them were brought later to America as slaves.
Facts. Facts. Go ahead.
The spirituals never sing of African rivers. It's always of the Jordan or the Red Sea. They don't sing about African chiefs or kings. It's David or Moses or some other Jewish character from the Bible.
Fact. Y'all see that? That's some good stuff. Give me the
That's
next
right.
book. Give me that next book.
The fate of the Jews, a people torn between Israeli power and Jewish ethics.
Now, I usually don't give book covers, but today I decided to give it to y'all. You just shut up.
Roberta Strauss Farrelly.
Go ahead, give me the next page inside the book. Jews and blacks. Let's go down to the highlighted section.
Started historically, Bishop, or just to highlight it? Okay, got you.
Historically.
Okay, historically, the relationship between Jew and black in America has not been one of equality. Jews were traders and masters. Blacks were merchandise and slaves and servants.
You see how they did us? You see how they did us? Mm-hmm. They enslaved us. Give me the next page.
This was particularly true of the South before the Civil War. Not only were a disproportionate number of Jews slave owners.
From us white folks, these converts were slave owners.
Slave traders.
Slave traders.
Slave auctioneers.
Slave auction. Give me the nigga sold to Master Charles. And they had that southern drawl. These were Jewish slave auctioneers. Go ahead.
Damn. But when the line was drawn between the races, they were on the white side.
They didn't give a daggone that you were Jews. They said, we know that these are the real Jews, but we on the white side because that's we the same people. I hope y'all see that. Give me the next picture of the slave ships. Get a lie. Give me Deuteronomy 28:68, please.
Yes, sir.
What happened to the real Jews? What happened to the real black Jews that the Bible speaks of? Well, here we go, right? Yeah. Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. The Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Egypt means house of bondage. The Lord will bring you into the house of bondage, slavery, again with ships. What kind of ships? Was it a yacht? No. Was it a canoe? No. It was a cargo slave ship. Y'all see that right there? One time the cargo was wine and things of that nature. But now the cargo, as you see in the third picture right there, our bodies, men and women, we became the cargo. We don't get a liar?
Yes, sir. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee.
Give me the next picture. IT, go ahead.
Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen.
Slave men and slave women. Go ahead.
No man shall buy you.
No man shall redeem you from the curses God put on us for breaking God's commandments. So I wanted these pictures because they show you actual slave ships. Because you got this Negro jailhouse talk that slave ships never existed. You lying bunch of Negroes out there. Give me the next picture. Look at this. These are children on slave ships. Give me the next one. More black children, Jews on slave ships. So now, we're going to jump up in time, write this down. We were emancipated between 1863 and 1865. Cap, give me, I believe it's Zephaniah 1:15, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir, that's it. book of Zephaniah, chapter 1 and verse 15. Wait, hold on. Yeah, is it Zechariah 1:15, Bishop? Further the affliction?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Zechariah 1:15.
Zechariah, get Zechariah chapter 1, verse 15.
Yes, sir.
Remember I just said we were emancipated 1863. Some of us didn't find out until 1865. But what happened? Go ahead.
Zechariah chapter 1, verse 15. And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease. For I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction.
See that? And they helped forward the affliction. Because once we were emancipated, that should have been it. But the heathen said, nah, we got to do more to these people. They donned their hoods, set up Ku Klux Klan, sharecropper laws, agriculture laws, the 13th Amendment bringing us back to slavery again. That's what they did. Read it again.
Yes, sir. Zechariah 1:15. And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease. For I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction.
They helped forward the affliction with their Jim Crow laws, the black codes, so forth and so on. Now I'm going to jump up a few years. 1913. Write this down. 1913. What happened in 1913? Well, there's a lot of things that happened. I'm skipping over a lot of history, but I'm just getting to some key points about Esau, Edom. Give me the book. Give me the book. Read that, get a lie.
Who is Esau, Edom? By Charles A. Wiseman.
This is so-called Jewish man who did a little research on his history. Let's go inside the book. Let's zoom in. Let's read the highlights.
There is not one favorable or positive statement in the Bible in relation to Esau, Edom.
Wait. There's not one favorable. Can somebody tell a Christian there's not one favorable or positive statement in the Bible in relation to Esau, Edom? You know what that means? John 3:16, he realized don't apply to Esau, Edom at all. In fact, it don't apply to no other nation but the Israelites.
That's right.
Next highlighted section.
If God hated you and your ancestors, how would you react? What would you do? By natural reaction, you would be against God and his people.
See that? Go ahead.
And try to prevent them from finding out you are Esau.
So wait a minute. If God hated you and your ancestors, now there's a Christian right now saying, God don't hate nobody. Give me a cap.
Yes, sir.
Romans 9:13. New Testament.
Yes, sir. Book of Romans, chapter 9 and verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
You know what they're thinking right now? That's only Esau. That don't apply to all Caucasians. Malachi 1,
yes,
please.
Sir. The book of Malachi, chapter 1 and verse 4. Malachi chapter 1, and verse 4. Whereas Edom, we start at verse 2. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness.
That was during the Dark Ages. Go ahead.
Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places.
They rebuilt as the Khazars. They came out as the Khazars during the Renaissance period. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build.
I should say as the Khazars and then during the Renaissance. Go ahead.
But I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness.
They shall call them, meaning Esau, Edom, they shall call them the border of wickedness. Go ahead.
And the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever.
Notice it says the people, not the person. The people whom the Lord has indignation against forever. Indignation means righteous anger forever. Let's go back to the book. And let's start again about if God hated you.
Yes, sir. If God hated you and your ancestors, how would
See, that's why it says ancestor, because it ain't just Esau himself, the individual, but his people. Read it again.
If God hated you and your ancestors, how would you react and what would you do? By natural reaction, you would be against God.
By natural reaction, you would be against God.
And his people.
And his people, meaning us.
And try to prevent them from finding out you are Esau.
And they would do everything they could do to prevent us from finding out that they were the Edomites, the children of Esau. Go ahead.
The one God is against. knowing that if God is against something, so will his followers.
Uh-oh. Go ahead.
Who is it that tries to conceal their identity as Edom, the one hated by God, by claiming to be Israel?
By claiming what?
To be Israel.
So Edom would claim to be Israel. Go ahead.
The one loved by God. Only one group of people reacts as though God has a hatred for them. That is the Jews.
That is the Jews. White folks. Go ahead.
Why do you suppose the Jews form organizations such as the Anti-Defamation League?
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Read that again.
Why do you suppose the Jews form organizations such as the Anti-Defamation League to monitor and combat hate and to identify hate groups?
Oh, you're a hate group. You're a hate group. You're a hate. That's what they do. But they're the true haters. Go ahead.
Would not Esau want to do this? Why is it that it is predominantly Jews who promote the anti-hate laws and other hate crime legislation? If you were Esau Edom, would you not do the same? An Edomite would also want to infiltrate churches.
So an Edomite would also want to infiltrate churches. What would they do in the church? Come on, next page. Zoom in.
And seminaries to get God's people to believe that there is no God of hate.
God don't hate nobody. He's all about love. That campaign makes it easy for them to say, oh, you Romans 9, you're a hater, you're a racist. That's what they do. Go ahead.
And seminaries to get God's people to believe that there is no God of hate, only a God of love and mercy. The Jews have done just that in Christendom.
The Jews have done just that in Christendom. Now, how did the ADL start? That's my question. How did the ADL start? Give me the next picture. Now, y'all may know this, but those of you at home, here's how the Anti-Defamation League got started. There was a so-called Jewish man named Leo Frank. He was the superintendent of a factory. We had a lot of workers. He had a couple of black people. These two that you see here, Jim Conley, he was a janitor of the factory. And you had Newt Lee, night watchman of the factory. Well, something happened. A young white girl named Mary Fagan was raped. Horribly raped and murdered. Jim Conley in the center says, hey, it was Leo Frank that did it. All the workers testified against Leo Frank. Guess who Leo Frank said it was? Jim Conley. He said, no, it was Jim Conley. It wasn't me, it was Jim Conley. Give me the next page. Go ahead, read that.
The Tennessean, and an innocent man was lynched.
So, Jim Conley, this is Jim Conley, this is the brother who revealed what happened. Okay. Go back to the picture. Go back to the other ones. Yeah. Jim Conley right there. Y'all see Mary Fagan on the far left. She was raped and murdered by Leo Frank, the so-called Jewish man right there. When it went to court, at least 25 Edomites came out and testified against Leo Frank. Women who worked at the factory and said no. Everyone felt uneasy around Leo Frank because he had a touchy-feely habits. He was a pervert. Leo Frank blamed the Negro. Blame a nigger. But in court, it didn't work. White folks lynched Leo Frank. And that's how the ADL was created. Give me the next picture. That's Jim Conley, the brother. Give me the next one. That's Leo Frank. Leo Frank, inside story of Georgia's greatest murder mystery. Ain't no mystery. It was revealed Leo Frank was the culprit, but he wanted to blame a Negro. That's what they do. Give me the next picture. Look at him, little perverted self. Look at him. Look at him. He's a pervert through and through. Nasty little scavenger self. Look at Pee Wee Herman. You're right, Pee Wee Herman. Look just like him. Give me the next picture. And that's Mary Fagan right there. And these people all testified against Leo Frank. So that's how the ADL was formed. They were like, never again, no so-called Jewish man will ever be convicted. That's how they formed that garbage. Hey, type in Jonathan Greenblatt, ADL. And if you can find the news when he was on the Breakfast Club talking about how the ADL was formed, because he talked about it, but he never revealed on the Breakfast Club that they blamed the black man. They didn't reveal that part. Kept that part secret. They said these dumb niggas ain't gonna do no research, that we blame them for everything. Put up Jonathan Greenblatt, president of the ADL. Now, we offered to sit down with Jonathan Greenblatt, but he didn't respond. I wonder why. Can y'all put up Jonathan Greenblatt? It can't be that hard to find a picture of him. Can't be that hard. There he goes. There you go. Enter the devil. Jonathan Greenblatt. So as you see, that's him there on the Breakfast Club, and he talked about how the ADL was founded, but he never revealed they blamed the black man, Jim Conley, for the murder of Mary Fagan. He never revealed that part. And Charlemagne just sat there like a lump on a log, quiet as a church mouse. Well, let's jump up in history. Let's jump up to 1944. Give me Revelation 13, Captain.
Yes, sir.
Verse 1 and 2. I want y'all all to pay close attention to this.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 1.
I don't want that yet. Nope, take it off. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea.
Now that's what I want, is a beast rising up from the sea. Read.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns.
7 heads and 10 horns. Go ahead.
And upon the horns 10 crowns.
And upon the horns 10 crowns.
And upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
And upon his heads the names of blasphemy. Do y'all have the picture the art department had done? With the great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns. It had their names listed. Do you have it? Hello? You don't have it. Well, all righty then. All right. So, write this down. This is for people at home. The 7 heads. You got Greece, Rome, Spain, France, Germany, Russia, Britain. Was that 7? That was 7? Okay. Who got the list of the 10 horns? Who wrote it down for me? Who wrote it down? Go ahead, read it out loud.
All right, you got the 10 horns. Belgium, Luxembourg, Netherlands.
Oh, they found it.
They found it. Okay, good. All right, you want me to read it, Bishop?
Yeah, read it off the screen.
All right, the 7 heads. Greece, Rome, Spain, France, Germany, Russia, Great Britain. 8th head, America.
Right, 10 head later on was America.
Yes, sir.
The 10 horns is who?
10 horns is Belgium, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Germany, United Kingdom, Italy, Greece, France, Denmark, Ireland.
Right, those were the beginning ones. Let's go back to Revelation 13, and we're in verse 2. Pay close attention to this. Pay close attention.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 2. The beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear.
When it says like a leopard, it goes back to Daniel 7. The empire that had this animal symbol of a leopard were the Greeks. So it's saying that these last empires would have traits of the Greeks. Go ahead.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear.
Now, when you go back to Daniel 7, the empire that had the animal symbol of a bear was Persia. So this last this last empire with 7 heads and 10 horns would have attributes of ancient Persia. They would not be Persians, but they would have attributes similar to Persia. Go ahead.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
When you go back to Daniel 7, The empire that had the animal symbol of a lion was Babylonians. Those were Hamites. So it's saying that these last empires would have the traits of ancient Babylon. They would not be Babylonians by blood, but they would have characteristics and traits of Babylon. Go ahead.
The dragon gave him his power.
Now that's what I wanted to get to right there. The dragon gave him his power. Write this down. The dragon there is the spiritual demon Satan. How do we know? Give me 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 9. Here's the precept.
The book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 9. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan.
Even him, talking about Esau, Edom, whose comings is after the working of Satan. Go ahead.
With all power.
With all power.
And signs.
And signs.
And lying wonders.
And lying wonders. I'm going to give you an example. Give me Isaiah 54, verse 16. Listen good, listen good, listen good.
Isaiah chapter 54, verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire.
Behold, I have created the smith. Who have what?
I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire.
Or bloweth the coals in the fire. Write this down. The smith at one time, write this down. The smith is the scientist today. Back in ancient time, a smith made weapons. He made swords. He made arrows. He made javelins. He made armor. He made bracers. Things of that nature. He made weapons. Knives. Okay. Everybody understand that, right?
Yes, sir.
Read it again.
Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work.
And that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. What kind of instrument is God talking about? Go ahead.
And I have created the waster to destroy.
And I have created the waster to destroy. That's what we're focusing on now. The waster. What kind of weapon can waste? Give me the precept. I'm going to show what kind of weapon this is. Zechariah 14, I want.
Yes, sir.
$14, $13 maybe? I didn't write it down.
Yes, sir. I think it
Go ahead,
starts
read
at
this.
12. Yes, sir. Yes. Zechariah chapter 14, verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem.
Now, this is going into Gog and Magog. But what I want y'all to see, I didn't bring that out yet, right? But what I want y'all to see is what this fire does. Read.
And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet.
So what this waster would do would be similar to what this fire would do. Read that part again.
Yes, sir. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet.
Their flesh would consume away while they're standing upon their feet. Go ahead.
Their eyes shall consume away in their holes.
Their eyes will consume away in their holes, the eye sockets. Go ahead.
And their tongue shall consume away in their mouth.
And their tongue will consume away out of their mouth. Go back to Isaiah 54.
Yes, sir. Isaiah chapter 54, verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy.
Yeah, put that on the screen. 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 Give me the other images too. I liked all them images. A delayed reaction, but I'll take it. Put it on the screen. Yeah. This is it. While they stand up, read it, get alive, read it so they can see.
Yes, sir. Zechariah 14 and 12.
Do y'all got a video? Do y'all got a video or no? No video? Click video right there. Go down. Let me see. Nope. Right, wait. Is that it? No, it's too long. Go down. Right. Can you click that? It says 2 seconds. That might be too short. Or that's just a GIF? Or does a GIF play on this or no? That's it. Can we play that? Will it be okay? Just jump to the part. I don't want all that sad stuff. Right? Once you get to the gate, yeah, right there. Play that. From right there, right. I don't hear nothing. I don't hear nothing. That's it. This is an example of the waster. That's it, gay cat. Read it again. Zechariah 14:12. You got to read that again.
Zechariah chapter 14, verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth.
So now, back to Isaiah 54:16.
Isaiah chapter 54, verse 16.
Because here's the question. Go ahead.
Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. I have created the waster to destroy.
So the question is, who is the smith by name that God created and that God allowed Satan to give power to? Give me the next video. Give me the next video. It's wait, let me make sure so y'all don't mess me up. It's called, the video I want, let me turn the volume down. How the Atomic Bomb. Is that the video y'all got? Okay, good. Write this down. The Smith, his name was Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer. I know you're saying, well, how do you spell that? I'm black. Oppenheimer. I think. I'm taking a wild guess. Oppenheimer. Now, listen good, IT. I want you to write this down. We're going to play from 0 to 1 minute, 35 seconds. Write that down. Then we're going to jump, because this is about a 10-minute video. We're not watching 10 minutes. The next section I want is 3:06 minute mark to 3:10 minute mark. You got that, Cap? Azariah, you got that? Then after that, I want 5:18 minute mark to 7:03 minute mark. So I need y'all back there to pay close attention to the time. Let me know when y'all ready. We ready? Let us begin.
As Julius Robert Oppenheimer witnessed the successful detonation of the world's first nuclear weapon, he was haunted by its implications.
No, he
I
wasn't.
remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. I suppose we all thought that one way or another.
That's him right there.
Oppenheimer was a man of many talents. He spoke 8 languages, wrote poetry, yet he will forever be remembered as the father of the atomic bomb. The man who gave people the power to destroy themselves was haunted by his own creation.
So he gave them the power of the atomic bomb. Remember what we read in Revelation 13:2, and Satan, the dragon, gave them their power. We read in 2 Thessalonians 2:9, whose comings is after the workings of Satan, with all power, with all signs and lying wonders. Play on.
Oppenheimer, what was immediately obvious to them
What is
was
this?
his intellect.
A former colleague once said, "The man was unbelievable. He always gave you the right answer before you formulated the question." Knowledge came easy to Oppenheimer. He learned Dutch in 6 weeks, just so he could give a lecture while on a visit to the Netherlands. He was born in New York on April 22nd,
and in case y'all didn't know, Oppenheimer was a Jewish German. This is teaming. Go ahead. We're going to where? We're going to 135.
Son of German Jewish immigrants.
Oh, they just
His
said it.
father,
Go back. Okay, go back a little second. Go ahead.
While on a visit to the Netherlands. He was born in New York on April 22, 1904, the older son of German Jewish immigrants. His father, Julius, was a textile importer who became very wealthy. His mother was a painter whose family had been in New York for generations. He was raised in Manhattan on the Upper West Side, in an apartment adorned with paintings by famous artists, including Van Gogh. After attending an elite private school in New York City, he went on to Harvard in 1922, intending to become a chemist, but leaving with an appetite for physics.
Okay, from there, 306 mark to 310.
Oppenheimer agreed with Einstein that German scientists could make a nuclear weapon, and when they
Hello?
did, Hitler was prepared to use it. America watched fearful.
The Germans had they created first the conventional ballistic missile. They created that first. It was the Germans. Write this down. The Germans are Teeman. That's Teeman, T-E-M-A-N, that we read about in Genesis 36. That's them. Oppenheimer was one of them. That his family converted to being Jewish. All right, Captain Azariah.
Highly fissionable. However, it's not a naturally occurring element and had to be manufactured. Reactors were built in southeastern Washington state to produce the plutonium. And then, on July 16, 1945, scientists detonated a plutonium bomb over the small town of Alamogordo, New Mexico.
We knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent.
Never before had humanity possessed a weapon that posed a threat to human civilization. The test's success meant an atomic bomb was ready to be used by the U.S. military. The following month, the U.S. military dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan. On August 6, 1945, the most powerful weapon in the world was dropped on the Japanese city of Hiroshima. 140,000 people were killed, many vaporized. Thousands more would die in pain in the months and years that followed from radiation poisoning. 3 days later, another bomb fell on Nagasaki, killing 74,000 people with equally devastating effects. Japanese Emperor Hirohito decried the devastating power of a new and most cruel bomb. Japan surrendered 6 days later, abruptly ending World War II. Oppenheimer initially expressed guilt over his creation. He said the weapon had dramatized so mercilessly
Are you paying attention to the time?
and evil of war. He continued, in some sort of crude sense, which no vulgarity, no humor, no overstatements can quite extinguish.
All right, 518. 518, pay close attention. Come on.
Known sin, and this is a knowledge which they cannot lose.
Okay, we're going to 518 to 703. And it's not on the screen.
Highly fissionable. However, it's not a naturally occurring element and had to be manufactured. Reactors were built in southeastern Washington state to produce the plutonium. And then, on July 16, 1945, scientists detonated a plutonium bomb over the small town of Alamogordo, New Mexico.
We knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent.
Never before had humanity possessed a weapon that posed a threat to human civilization. The test's success meant an atomic bomb was ready to be used by the U.S. military. The following month, the U.S. military dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan. On August 6, 1945, the most powerful weapon in the world was dropped on the Japanese city of Hiroshima. 140,000 people were killed, many vaporized. Thousands more would die in pain in the months and years that followed from radiation poisoning. 3 days later, another bomb fell on Nagasaki, killing 74,000 people with equally devastating effects.
敵は新たに残虐なる爆弾
Japanese Emperor Hirohito decried the devastating power of a new and most cruel bomb. Japan surrendered 6 days later, abruptly ending World War II. Oppenheimer initially expressed guilt over his creation. He said the weapon had dramatized so mercilessly the inhumanity and evil of war. He continued, in some sort of crude sense, which no vulgarity, no humor, no overstatements can quite extinguish.
Hey, get a lot. You know what I want? Give me Genesis about the blessing that Isaac gave them.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 27, verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth,
Meaning Esau would live everywhere, the best places on earth. Go ahead.
and of the dew of heaven from above.
They will cover the lands. Go ahead.
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
That's what I wanted right there. And by thy sword shalt thou live. Meaning Esau was blessed with the art of war, the creation of weaponry and things of that nature. Read that again.
And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
Now you can read about them breaking their yoke from under Solomon's reign on in 2 Kings 8, verse 20. So now, watch this. Give me the next video, the new movie.